Hello everybody. Can you please write to the chat if you can hear me? Just let me know, put applause or... Nice, excellent. So we still have 2 minutes to start. Probably more people will join in. Thank you very much for your feedback. So 2 minutes and then we will start. Great, thank you. Hello, Mariana. Oh, hi. Hello to Turkey. So welcome to our seminar. Thank you for joining us. So, have so many people internationally. Great. Okay. So I guess we can start now. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lidiya Simak. Welcome to the webinar. I'm working right now from Great Education Center from Kiev, Ukraine. I'm very happy to be delivering this workshop to you. So please feel free to drop your comments to the chat, interact, because I will ask you to, I'm not going to lecture you, I want you to interact. So you're very welcome. So please drop your comments to the chat. I will also ask you to keep muted. You are already muted by me. If there are some problems with sound or with the demonstration, again, please drop me a line to the chat so that I could react. All right, wonderful. So today, we have people from Oman. We have people from, wow, from Turkey, from Cherkasy, from Ukraine, from Myanmar, wow, Vietnam, Bahrain. Excellent. So it's really great because despite being locked down for such a long time, we actually feel more open now because we're easier. So we communicate with each other easier because we're not surrounded by boundaries we have online. Okay, so welcome everybody. Very happy to see you all here again. My name is Lidiya Simak. Please feel free to drop comments to the chat. And today, I'm going to talk about something that has been a trend for probably the last 50 years. And we're going to be talking about classroom activities that spark communication. I am reading your chat, so I will try to react to what you are writing here. Okay. There is no sound. Okay, Irina, can you please check your headphones or your speakers? Because definitely this is something's wrong probably in your computer or whatever, or maybe the sound is really, you know, you have to put it up. So just try to do it. Okay, if that doesn't happen, please let me know again. Okay, so classroom activities that spark communication. And so today, I don't want just to give you a set of activities. I want to talk to you also about communicative methodology. And not only about the methodology, but also what makes a task actually communicative and what does it mean? Because, for example, in Ukraine, it's very trendy. Everyone says that we are using I will mute the newcomers. So everyone says, like every document says that everyone is using communicative methodology. But unfortunately, everybody knows the name, but not everybody actually knows what it is. So I would like to familiarize you, to show you what a communicative task really is. And also, we're going to work together to turn the tasks that are not communicative into communicative. So please, again, feel free to interact, to write in the chat. I'm reading everything that you're writing. All right, so let's start. The aims of this session are to talk about what is a communicative task, what is communicative methodology in general, without going too deep into terminology, and how to set up communicative tasks. So let's spark communication together. And we'll start with the question, is this task communicative? So we're going to work together, so please feel free to drop the answers to the chat. I'm going to show you different tasks. Can you please react to the tasks? If you feel that the task is communicative, drop yes or a plus. If you feel that the task is not communicative at all, just drop a minus or a no. If you feel that, well, it might be communicative or you're not sure, can you please just drop an S or a question mark? And we're going to discuss together. If we have time, we will get back to these tasks, discuss them again, and turn the non-communicative tasks into the communicative. All right, so the first task is, tell your partner about your favorite film. Do you feel it's communicative? Please react. I see yes, I see some occasional no's. But mostly people think it's communicative. Does anybody have a doubt? I have a no with 4 exclamation marks. A question mark from Ira. But most people think it is. No way from Alex. Hi, Alex. Alex was my Delta buddy. Alex, you're spoiling the program because you know the correct answer. Okay. Yeah, I know, that's my boy. All right. Well, actually, no. And we will talk to you why a little bit later. How do you feel about number 2? Tell us about your weekend. Was it interesting? I see a hand from Svetlana. Svetlana, can you please write in the chat, or you can write in a private chat and ask me a question. No, not communicative. Yes, no. Some doubts from Rima. This task, like, it's more like a no, or I would say 50-50 reaction. Okay. I would say that actually it isn't. Anina, you have a very nice comment. We need to have a partner reaction. Exactly. If I just say, tell us about your weekend, was it interesting? The person will speak, but will anybody listen to the person? Why? Okay, number 3. Look at this task. Write a letter of complaint. Explain what you are unhappy and clearly state what you want. Is it communicative? No, yes, yes, no. So we have some mixed feelings. Some occasional question marks, not much. Not sure. Here I see that people, you start having doubts. And that's good because that's what I want you to do. I want you to really think, is the task communicative? Okay. Okay. Can you please look at the next task? Find 3 differences between the pictures. What do you think about that one? Yes, no, no. Mostly no. Some yes. Okay. Can you look at number 5 now? How do you feel about this one? Find someone who. Yes, some no's, yes, no, yes, yes. Mostly yes. All right. Okay, I'm muting the new people. I see some dogs barking and some dishes clinking. Okay, some no's. All right. Look at my number 6. Listen to your classmates buying clothes in the shop. Who is the most polite customer? What do you think of this one? Yes, 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 no. Yes, no. Yes and no. Okay, question mark. Different reactions, not sure. Okay, I have number 7. This is the last one. Can you please express your opinion on this one? Read the email that your classmates have written. No, 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 no. So this one is more straightforward for most people. Okay, thank you very much for your reaction, because now I see that probably it is a big deal, because you might not be sure what a communicative task is, or you might find it difficult to understand if the task is communicative or no, or maybe you have slightly different ideas on what task is communicative and what is not. So I hope that today we're going to clarify this, and you will feel more comfortable, more confident in identifying and setting up communicative tasks. All right, so thank you very much for your reaction. That is very interesting for me to see actually what people think. If we have time, we will get back to these tasks. If we don't, I hope you will be able to actually identify these, the way of how communicative the task is on your own. All right, I have a person who raised a hand, like it's Jillian, I think. Jillian, can you please drop me a line and ask me a question or explain what the problem is? All right. So we're talking about different tasks. At this time, I would like you to compare the tasks. This is the first task. Talk to your partner about the music you like. And this is the second task. Talk to your partner about the music you like. Do you have similar or different references? Which one, the first or the second, is communicative, and why? Can you please drop, yeah, I see number 2, yeah. But can you just drop 1 or 2 words and explain why the second one is communicative and the first one is not? Because it involves interaction, yes. Additional question, there is a purpose, yes. Give comparison, interaction, answer, feedback. Okay, yes, if we look at the first task, does it require anyone to listen to? So the person is speaking, yes, but the partner or the class, do they really have a reason to listen to what music this person likes? Actually, no reason. They can just keep talking, and why would we listen to them? But if we have the task, so we need to hear this person, because we need to compare our tastes. We need to decide if our tastes are similar or different. So there is no way that you do not listen to your partner, because you need to make a decision together. And in this case, communication happens because people have a reason to speak, to express themselves, and they have a reason to listen to each other. And in this case, the task is communicative because it feeds communication. The person doesn't just speak for the sake of speaking. They speak because they need to do something. They need to achieve some goal. They need to do some, to solve a problem or whatever. So that's why the second task is communicative. Yeah. So if we look at it, look at these 2. Write about your weekend. And write about your weekend. Write 3 things that you did, 3 things that you didn't do, 3 things you would do differently if you had a chance, and let's see whose weekend was the most unusual. So which one is communicative? The first writing or the second? Again, none. Can you explain why none? The first one is communicative. Okay, question. In the first task, does a person really have a reason to write? Do they have someone, do they have a reader for their writing? apart from the teacher who's going to check and put you some marks and correct all your mistakes? Actually, no. But in the second task, if a person has to write, first of all, this task gives them more food, more ideas, because most people, if you just ask them, tell about your weekend, they don't know what to say. But if they have ideas, write 3 things about this, 3 things about that, they will produce something. And look, the secret is the last sentence here. Let's see whose weekend was the most unusual. It means that the person needs to write about their weekend, because we're going to be reading about everyone's weekend. We're going to choose whose weekend we think was the most unusual. That's why the second task is communicative, because the person who's writing, they have a good reason to write. And the person, and there will be readers. So the person who is writing will know why they're writing, and people who are supposed to read those, they know why they're reading. So when we talk about different tasks, communicative tasks, it's not only about the speaking, it's also about the writing. Yes, motivation to impress the reader. Well, yes, that's right, because when we talk about real life writing, we don't, yes, we do write for pleasure sometimes, we do write diaries, but most things that we write some notes, we write emails, we do have a reader. Someone will read our note, someone will read our message, someone will read our email. And even if you write novels, usually you don't do it just for the sake of writing, but you do want some readers to read your novels. So writing also must be communicative. And believe me, and I think that you also notice that if you give your students a very good reason to do the writing, not just for the sake of training for exams or getting marks, they will write, I would say, less reluctantly. They would be more eager to write. All right, let's move on. We discussed the tasks, and now let us actually decide and talk about what is a communicative activity. This is the activity in which real communication occurs. And if you look back at the tasks that I gave you, that I told you that they were communicative, actually they mean that the partners or some people, they need to communicate. And this is the real communication. It's like a real life communication. This is something that might be happening in their real life, but we use it as props to give them the opportunity to practice the language that we're teaching. So yes, if the task doesn't spark real communication, it is not really communicative. Okay, then we need to decide what makes an activity communicative. So can you please look at this task? Is it communicative? Yes or no? Can you please drop me a line to the chat? Yes, I have. Yeah, yes, right. Exactly, because talk to your partner about the music you like. Do you have similar different preferences, which means that we need to speak and we need to listen in order to compare. That's why this makes the task communicative. And so let us just decide if the task is communicative, what it has to have, what kind of task it must be. So first of all, a communicative task must have purposefulness. So there must be a purpose for speaking and listening, or for reading and writing, for communicating and exchanging. So speakers are motivated by a communicative goal. And the goals can be actually very different. For example, they need to get information from each other. For example, like in this very task, when they need to find out about their partner's musical preferences. Or it could be something different, like making a request. For example, if a teacher asks, so if they need to ask questions to each other and they need to find out some information and so on. If they need to give instructions. So, and many other purposes. These are just a couple of possible variants and options. Okay, apart from purposefulness, a communicative task must include some reciprocity. So, reciprocity means that it means that to achieve the purpose that we mentioned in the previous slide, the speakers need to interact, and there is as much need to listen and to speak. So it means that if only one person is speaking and the other person is just listening, we cannot say that the task is fully communicative, because communication is exchange. So there must be some exchange, and actually both, yes, both speakers, both partners, they need to take part in that exchange. Okay, apart from reciprocity, there must be some negotiation, because this is a typical problem, especially when we talk about teenage classes, that you ask your students to discuss something, and they try to do it as fast as possible. They don't want to negotiate. It's easier for them to agree on something just because they don't want to speak. Yes, and mostly teachers are talking in classroom. Yeah, that's a big problem. Thank you, Leanne. Yeah, and when we talk about communicative activities, this is actually the time when the teacher, excuse me, has to shut up and listen to what the students are saying. And I'm going to show you some tasks later that include very little speaking from the teacher, but includes lots of communication from students. All right, when we talk about negotiation, so students may need to check and repair the communication in order to be understood by each other. So they need to actually interact. They need to understand each other. They need to find some means to help each other understand each other. Okay. In any of these characteristics fall, it means that isn't communicative. I would say that well, definitely yes. I would say that this is the extension to that main idea, that they need to have a reason to speak and to listen. And that includes reciprocity, negotiation, exchange. But altogether, this is a very simple idea. So Carmen, that just they need to have reason to listen and to speak. Yes. Apart from these, what is important? There is some unpredictability. What I mean is that when students start speaking, yes, we do teach them the target language, but sometimes and very often, they might not use the target language. They might use something else, because, you know, a language is always excessive, and there are always multiple ways of expressing the same ideas using different means. And that's why it's actually hard to make students use the target language. That's why we invent different tricks to kind of narrow their choices and make them use the target language. But usually, and this is always a chance and this is always a risk, that neither a process nor the outcome nor the language used is entirely predictable. It does not mean it is unpredictable, but there is always a chance that they might use something else, not just what you teach them in the lesson. A comment from Elsa, so that the students don't get bored and use the vocabulary you want them to use. Yes, exactly. So yeah, we do invent tricks to actually make them practice what we're learning, but it never guarantees that they will only use this and they will not use something else. So there is some unpredictability. If it's not unpredictability, probably this is something the students just memorize and reproduce, you know, without experimenting with the language or without using the language their way. Okay, heterogeneity. It means that participants can use any communicative means at their disposal. So they're not restricted. This is when we talk about true communication. But of course, in class, we try not to do that. We do restrict our learners. We do formulate the tasks so that they use the target language that we teach them. But when we talk about real communication, students are not limited. Okay, let's move on. So these are the, let's say, features of communication and communicative methodology. The question is it only about speaking? There was a hint here because we already found out that, yes, it's not only speaking, it's also the writing. Can you just drop not only no, but maybe a few words? What else can it be? Not just speaking, but what else? Maybe, yes, writing, yes, you're right, listening, interesting. Writing stories, listening, yes, I agree with you, and we're going to explore a little bit deeper here. So yeah, definitely, when we talk about communicative methodology, communicative tasks, this is definitely not only speaking. Yes, this is also writing and something else we'll be talking about later. If you look at this task, write a description of a classmate. Don't say who it is. And one more, read your peers' descriptions. Who did they describe? Is this task communicative? Can you just drop also yes or no? Yes. Yeah. Do the students have a reason to write and the reason to read? Definitely. So this is a nice communicative task because it is real life communication. Yes, we need to write and we need to read. We have a purpose to do that. Look at this task. You have bought a set of skis online. When the delivery arrived, you saw that the seller sent you the wrong item. Write a letter of complaint to the seller and ask them to send you the right set. So it looks like an exam task and it's not very communicative, but if we add a little bit of something here, read your partner's letter, use the checklist to peer check it. Again, it is not that communicative because, well, it is a little bit artificial, but it's a good idea to stimulate students read each other's works and react to each other's works. This one, yes, it is artificial. It fits exam classes, but this is as communicative, I would say, as you can get in exam class preparations. If you want some peer teaching, if you want to teach students to analyze their work and their partner's work, so this is something you can achieve to avoid just writing emails by students and checking them by teachers. Okay, yeah, it's a, so Andrew, you use passive activity. I don't really understand what you mean. Is it about this writing or if you explain a little bit, it would be nice. All right, yes, we give feedback to the writing. So yeah, we have a reason to write because there is some communicative purpose to this writing because we want to complain and there is a reason for other students to read it. Okay, so it's not definitely about speaking. It's 100% writing and lots of other activities that we do in class. And actually, a good lesson, I would say that a well-planned lesson, it has a lot of communicative activities, not only the final speaking, let's say, like some prior practice or post-listening or post-reading task, and not just at the beginning to set the context. Like if you really want your students to speak, to communicate, you would try to make all the tasks communicative as possible. So any other ideas how to make students read each other's writing? Here, because it might not be obvious, it might be difficult if you haven't really done that. I have got some other ideas that you might, sneak and use in your classroom. Okay. For example, students write about a perfect holiday resort. And the communicative task is, after they finish, they read all the descriptions and decide which resort they would like to go to. So there is a communicative task because if there is a contest, there are some comments like write the truth and the lie and you need to guess. Yes, Antonina, this is a very good comment. Yes. So if they need to guess which piece of information is correct and which is a lie. But if we talk about that task, so if a student wants to, win the contest, write the best description, they want like a lot of people to vote for them, they will try hard and produce the nice piece of writing. And the other students, if they need to choose the best resort, so they have to read everybody's work. So this is the time when you actually explain, when you put everybody's writing on the walls, and students might walk around, read, and choose the resort that they like best. Okay, Natalia, oh my God, I hope this is a good reaction. Okay, another piece of writing with some slightly different, I hope you will also use it in your lessons. Students write a story. This is the task, how to make it communicative. Students make their peers the characters of the story. And do you think, if you know that you have 10 peers who wrote 10 stories and you are a character in every story they wrote, would you be interested in reading those stories? Well, at least I would. Again, it depends on the class. If you have nice, friendly trainees and students who work well together, they would be excited and try to do it. Yes, exactly. It might still be difficult for those who feel difficulty writing. It might still be difficult for them to write, but it will definitely stimulate your students to read. Okay, some more tasks. Students write a story, and after they have written one sentence, they need to swap their notebooks with a neighbor, and they need to write the second sentence. Personally, I do not really like that task, because I would say that it does benefit some reading skills, but students still do not produce a solid piece of writing on their own. But this is a fun activity, and I usually do that when, for example, my teens are exhausted and they don't want to do anything, and I need to cheer them up and do some practice. So I sometimes ask them to do some stupid things, like exchanging the course book. And usually it's very funny, because if you work in the center where they have those little plates on the chairs, they have no desk. It is fun because they keep the course books, the pens keep falling down. Students keep, taking them from the floors, and there is always a lot of laughter. So this is the activity that I use when my students are dead, and I understand that they will not work in this lesson. I usually use it maybe once a couple of months, but this is the activity that also provides some practice, and it brings life to the classroom. Okay, yes, and for the camps, by the way, this is really fun, so try it, especially if it produces some mess and laughter. This is also a very good icebreaker and a team builder, because students feel more comfortable working together, because, having a good laugh, it makes people warmer. All right, so these were some examples of communicative writing that I wanted to share with you. And I also wanted to share some other typical communicative activities, because we already discussed and decided that communicative tasks, it is not only about speaking and writing. This is very wrong to think that it's only about speaking and writing. Can you please look at this activity? What kind of activity is that? Can anybody drop a name to the chat? I suspect people might be typing. You see that there is student A and student B. Questionnaire. Not really, it's not a questionnaire. It's not find someone who, yes, thank you, Alex, my favorite buddy from Delta. This is information gap, which means that the students have the same pictures, but they have information only about 50% of the items and so on. And their peers, they don't have the information that student A have, but they have the information, so they have different information, and they need to talk to each other to fill in. And this is when you actually practice some grammar structure. This is the very good time, for some semi-controlled and controlled practice of some structure questions and so on. Yeah, this is a communicative activity, because they have a reason to talk to each other, to listen and to speak. Yes, information gap. Another activity, can you please drop a line of what do you think it is? Those two boys, what are they doing? Guessing. Okay, Natalia, not really, but thank you for your response. Yeah, this is back to back. Yeah, listening and drawing. Do you see that the boy in the right top, he's carrying a picture of a hippo. The other boy who's sitting back to back to him, he's drawing. The first boy, he's speaking, he's describing the picture he's carrying, and the other boy, he has to listen and draw what is described. This is a very nice and communicative activity. So it's like a drawing dictation, let's say, and then they will swap. The teacher will give a picture, another picture to the boy who's wearing glasses, and the red boy will be drawing. So this is a wonderful, actually, activity for almost all ages, and for kids who like drawing and who have enough language to describe a picture. And this is a wonderful activity. I really love it. So, and I do recommend you to try if you haven't. It's describe and draw. All right, another activity. So what is that? This is spot the difference, right? Because there is a name here. But we know that actually a person can do it on their own. They can just look at two pictures. How can we make it communicative? Okay, Liam, that's nice that you have tried this, the drawing dictation. Okay, you can make it communicative by actually splitting the picture, giving them to your students, and not allowing them to see each other's pictures. So they know they have similar pictures, and they know they need to find 5 differences, but they cannot see the pictures, so they need to talk in order to find the differences. So they need to describe the pictures to each other and compare them. This is a wonderful activity, and it does spark communication, and it's actually very interesting. But then after they have found 5 differences, or as many as they could, they can actually look at each other's pictures and really like visually support each other, make sure that they have found the right differences. Okay, so spot the difference activity. Another activity I recommend doing, actually you can see it in many course books, but I would say in good course books. Does anybody know what kind of activity that is? Yeah, it's a chart, but to complete the chart, students need to do something. What kind of activity? What's the name for this? Does anybody know? Can you please drop a line? So, and this is only student A. Student B has similar, but they have information about Oliver and have no information about Alexander. Yeah, Natalia, you are close. It's not listen and write, it's read and write. They have already written texts about their guy. So student A has read the text about Alexander. Student B has read the text about Oliver. They have the information about those guys, and they need to talk together to ask each other questions and to fill in the gaps. Yeah, so this is a type of interaction gap, but it's also a jigsaw task, which means that, yeah, students, in order to do the task, they need to read or listen to some text, and they need to tell their partners about what they found out. So yeah, it's a jigsaw task. There are different nice jigsaw activities, especially jigsaw reading and jigsaw listening is very popular. And these are nice tasks because apart from reading and listening, students need to talk a lot because they need to tell their partners about what they have read or what they have heard. Okay, moving on. Can only speaking and writing activities be communicative? No, we answered that question. And I wanted to also share something that you might not have been doing and probably you would like to have a go. And what do you think about a communicative revision? Do you think, have you ever done this, or do you know how to do it? Talking, gesture, don't know this. It's good that thank you for sending me your feedback, because I can actually see that what I have prepared would be useful for some. Actually not. Like a spoken exam. Andrew, not really. I'm going to show you what I actually do to my students. Is this familiar? I mean, such a page in lots of course books. And so what do teachers usually do? Somehow, so they need to make their students to do all those exercises, right? Notice the difficulties and probably, you know, work on mistakes and prepare students for tests. I can say that actually, you might not believe me, but I managed to turn these into really fun activities, but usually for my teen and preteen students, because adults will just do it, you know, obediently without turning it into a game. Okay, so what I usually do, just how, okay, Elsa, I will tell you how. So my students are familiar with the procedure, so they are eager to do this. So the first thing is that I give them some time to do all the tasks on the page. Let's say it will take 15 to 20 minutes. It depends on the students, the group, and so on. After they have done this, they compare and discuss the answers in pairs. After they have discussed, I provide them with some answers. But I only give them 50% of the answers. So I divide them into two groups. Half of the group are student A and half of the group are student B. So they can check their answers, like they check 50% of their answers. They don't know the rest. And then after they have checked those 50%, I regroup them so that person A and B are together and they play battleships. Every time they shoot, they need to say a sentence they don't know the answer to. And if the sentence is correct, so the shot is okay. They either kill someone or they miss or whatever. So it is a bit lengthy and not everybody likes it. So I will be honest, because some students loved it and we were looking forward to this revision. Some students really hated it and I didn't do it with them. But if that really worked, what I actually did, if it wasn't the first time, I didn't even have to give them any instructions. They knew what to do. And because it only happened once a unit, you know, once every, I don't know, a couple of weeks, or before the test, which is like once every 6 weeks, it wasn't boring for them and they were looking forward to it. But again, to be honest, not everybody loved it. And especially if you have younger students who have problems playing battleships, like they can, you know, shoot and like they can make a mess on the field and they might get confused. But with those, I have another, yes, exactly. Do not demotivate weaker students. Alex, I know that. That's why I don't do it with everyone. I will show you what I do with weaker students. They get more support and more fun. Again, the same page. Again, they first do the page. They check in pairs, and then I divide them into two teams. The teams sit separately in the class so that they didn't really hear each other. So I tried to put them into different corners, and I draw something like this on the board. So these are, you see on top, these are the number of the exercises, and A, B, C, D, E, and so on. These are the number, these are the code for sentences in each exercise. And this game is called Hearts and Bombs. In this field, again, what students do? There are teams. So each team chooses a question in some exercises and they shoot. For example, if they want to read the first sentence in the first exercise, it would be 1A. So they choose the square and they need to read the correct answer or to read the sentence with the correct answer. But it is tricky because the square, like 1a, it will be, if it's empty and the team give a correct answer, they just get 1 point. But sometimes they can find a heart. If they find a square with a heart, they will get 2 points for the correct answer. But sometimes they can find a bomb, and if they find a bomb, it's -2. But if they still read the correct answer, they get only -1. So again, if the square is empty, the correct answer +1, incorrect answer, nothing. If they get a heart and the answer is correct, it's +2. If the answer is incorrect, it's still +1. So if they get a heart, even if they mess up with the sentence, they still get a point. If it's a bomb, it's -2 for the incorrect answer and -1 for correct answer. Why this game works? Because this is a great matter of luck. They never know where they shoot. Only the teacher knows where the hearts and bombs are. And I always prepare that hearts and bombs in advance because I want to show them after the game that I was fair to them. I didn't correct any hearts and any bombs. I didn't move them because they feel that when something is unfair. And when you prepare such a game, I usually make it 30% of empty spaces, 30% of hearts, and 30% of bombs. And this game, I don't know any group of students who hated the game. They were always happy to play it. I only played it for revision, and it worked like, you know, perfectly. So this is the revision I want you to steal from me. And this is something that worked with my pre-teen and teen students. They loved it. And they were busy 90 minutes of the lesson. It was perfect. The only problem is that I was silent when they were doing the tasks and comparing it. I only helped them if they needed me. But when I had to do the game itself, my throat was always sore because they get excited, they start shouting and so on. And but actually it's worth it because I know that before they play that game, they have had that quality revision because they did do it on their own. They did compare it with the answer, with their partner. When they are in groups and they had something incorrect, the group decides what the correct answer is because they need to give the correct answer. They want to get more points. Okay. Elsa, I have some problems with the battleship, I guess. How is it played? Okay, you can actually Google it. It is very easy because to be able to explain to you, I needed to visualize, I need to draw and explain. So Elsa, can I ask you to Google it? And if there is a problem, maybe if we have time to discuss later. Okay, what does AH stand for? So Natalia, that's a good question. What is on the top? This is the number of exercise, and AH, it could be the number of sentences in each exercise if you have A, B, C, D, E, H, or you can write numbers for number of sentences. Okay, so please feel free to try it. This is a great game. Okay, moving on. So I just wanted to show you that when I do my revision, actually, I almost don't do nothing. I don't do anything. I monitor help and I help my students play games and they peer check each other, peer correct. I only need to, you know, do the classroom management and I need to explain what is difficult for them. So actually, I love revision lessons because I don't need almost any preparation for them. Will there be a certificate for this webinar? Okay, Oksana, I will ask, I think that we have a moderator who reads the messages and she will respond to you. I'm not sure, but I hope you will. So you need a battleship for each activity and revision? Well, Carmen, actually, no, not for everything. First of all, it doesn't work for kids. It is very difficult with kids. But with some classes, I actually get by with 2 of these activities. So it's sometimes battleships, sometimes it's this hearts and bombs. But the trick is don't use it very often. Because if you start using it often, it just loses its charm. But if you use it once every 6 weeks and your students love it, they look forward to it. Okay, we're moving on. Question, another question that you might ask me, can drilling and peer teaching be communicative? What do you think? Can it? Can you please write in the chat? I have some responses. Yes, 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 yes. Another question. Do you know how to make it communicative? Because I want to share. Yeah, peer teaching. Yes, Andrew, you're right. No, Eugenia. Actually, yes, Eugenia. I hope that you will learn and steal something from me today. Drills, not much. Okay, I'm not talking about the classical drilling when students need to repeat some new vocabulary immediately after they have learned it. But I mean, when you need to practice some pronunciation and you want your students to repeat, it's more like very controlled practice. Okay, some activities. I'm sure you have seen such things in many course books. So we have word lists and we have pictures. And the teachers who do not know what to do with such long lists, they just ask students to do the matching, then they listen and check and listen and repeat, and they do not exploit such pages anymore, which is a great mistake because you can do a lot of things actually, because you can put your students in pairs and you can make them teachers. For example, after they have they have got the meaning, the form and pronunciation, you drill them. They just need to repeat the words to remember. You can ask your students to be teachers to each other. For example, to start with the easy part, a teacher says a word and the student says the number of pictures. This is one game. Then they swap. Another, to make it a bit more challenging, a teacher asks the student, they say the number of a picture and they need to provide a word. They can do something else with such activities. Well, this is not teaching countable and uncountable nouns. This is teaching clothes. Yeah, and countable and uncountable noun. Yeah, thank you, Galina. Exactly. What will you be wearing for a party? What will you be wearing outside? What will you be wearing in winter? What will you be wearing, I don't know, at night? What is men's clothes? What is girls' clothes? And so on. Yes, but this is, I would say, what the teacher would ask. When we talk about communication, peer communication, we can actually include some games, because games are excellent tools because they already have the communicative purpose to win. And it's always interesting to play games. So students, for example, can throw dice. Again, if you have here, I have 32 items, so I would probably use more dice, or I would first give them one dice and then add 2 and then 3 so that they practice more vocabulary. And yeah, thank you, Esther, the seasons they're wearing. And I can ask students, right, okay, you need to roll the dice and you need to say what the item is under this number, and the teacher needs to check you. So this is for those who feel bored just asking each other. When we talk about kids, for example, or preteens, when they roll the dice, it just works magic for them. It's not just what is number 8, it's I roll the dice, I don't know what number I will have. This is the matter of luck. So this is a little trick that will make it a little bit more interesting. Or for example, you can throw a coin. And this time it's a bit different because coins only have 2 options. It's either heads or tails, but you can tell your students that they need to choose the item of clothes, and if they have hats, they need to make a positive sentence, like with this clothes item, and if they had tails, they need to make a negative sentence, and their partner, they need to, for example, decide if the sentence is true or false. And this is the communicative purpose. I do the same. Yeah, well, actually, I can. It works for adults. They love it, especially for lower levels. You can do it with the deck of cards, because here we have 4 options. And what I do to my students, like the simplest is, there is a deck of cards, and the cards all are face down. They take one card one by one. If the card is black, they need to say the sentence that is not true, and they're like including some item of clothes or using the grammar structure that we're learning. And their partner, they need to listen and guess if it's the truth and the false. And then the partner, the first one who was telling the truth, who was taking the card, they show them the card, and like to show that if the sentence was true or false. So I do use a lot of such things like dice, cards, coins, and it is also very good for adults, especially for lower levels, for A levels, when they need to repeat the same items many, many times to remember, when they have huge vocabulary lists, like here, there are 32 items of clothes. So for some, especially from very different language families, it is challenging. So if you have a chance to set them into pairs, to explain the task, demonstrate it, and give them some motivation when it's guess if it's true, rolling the dice, using a coin, it actually helps them because it keeps them interested, and they have a chance to repeat the lexical items, the grammatical structure many times, and this is how they remember it. So we can say that such controlled practice, such peer teaching, peer drilling, peer checking, it is possible, and it can be fun and communicative. So please, again, feel free to steal my activities and use them in class. It will change the teaching and the learning dramatically. I do hope so. Yes, why I love dice? Because you can have different number. You can give them 1 dice, 2 dice, 3 dice. Okay, I see that some people, they put their hand up. Can you please write your questions to the chat? Because I have 200 people, it is very difficult for me to spot who put the hand up. Okay, yeah, practice makes perfect. I agree with you. Will we get this presentation after the webinar? Yeah, I will ask the moderator if it's possible. Probably yes. Yeah, I don't mind. I have used some coursebook pages here, so I think yes. Yeah. Okay, we're moving on. Another point I wanted to make is that communication helps personalize learning. And if you personalize learning, it means that all the new information and what you teach a student, it kind of, it connects with the emotions and with memories and with their experience, which means that this is another means for them to remember what you're teaching and what they're learning. Especially if you faced dyslexia problems, they can only learn if they experience strong emotions, either positive or negative. And it does work for people who do not suffer from dyslexia if you include the person's emotions, memories. It does help, it boosts the learning and the communication. This is something that helps you reflect and helps you, you know, connect what you're doing to people's experience, personality, preferences, and emotions. And very quickly, there are 2 approaches to communicative learning. There is a strong approach and a weak approach. A strong approach, they believe that the proponents of strong approach believe that communication should go first, and then you learn a language by communicating. And this is the task-based learning. And when the students do some tasks, then they learn the language and they do more tasks. And the weaker forms of communicative learning, the proponents believe that you learn a language and then you use it, which means that first students learn the language in class and then they do some activities. None of them is perfect. It depends on your students, your preferences, your what you prefer, what you feel your students need. So experiment with the language, experiment with approaches, steal the activities, do some extra reading, because when you see that the students communicate, you will actually, you will see that the learning happens. And I wanted to show you something that I learned from my Delta tutor, and Alex, my Delta buddy, he now also remembers who said that. My Delta tutor said that learning does not happen when you are alone. So which means that we do need to communicate to learn the language, because the language, this is something that helps people communicate. So thank you very much for staying with me. I hope you will sneak some useful activities. Maybe you will change some things that you do in your class. And just a couple of words I would like to share with you. Thank you very much for, you know, visiting our center online, I wanted to say that we do have CELTA courses here. We do fully online CELTA courses. We're running the third one. We were like one of the first centers in Ukraine who did that, and there are very good reviews on them. So if you feel that you would like to become CELTA qualified with our center, you're always welcome. So we'll be very happy to see you. Please join in. Another thing is that, so these are the contacts. This is the price. You can always go to our website to find out more. You're always welcome to do that. Another point is that we have TKT preparation. This is the course that I run at GREAT. We do it online, so any person from any country can join in. So we prepare for all the modules. And again, it's been a great experience, and trainees, like they share good reviews, so it is useful for them. So if you're interested, join in. We are launching a nice new course, which is Advanced ELT Academic Writing. Please look it up in our website, because it is a great product and it is unique, actually, in Ukraine at least. So this is something that you might join and you might do when you have time. If you feel that you would like to learn more how to do academic writing, how to become a better writer. So the course is brilliant because our team has been working on that course for a couple of years, and this is the brainchild, and this is utterly amazing. So my recommendation, please look it up at our website and join in. So here, these are the contacts of me. This is my email, and this is the contacts of GREAT Education Center. So please call us, email us. Let's stay in touch. We will be very happy to have you at our courses, at our webinars. Thank you very much for joining in. I was very happy to see that you are participating and you are very active, and you share your experience and you ask questions and you react. And this is always great when you're sitting alone in the room, to actually feel that all the 200 people, they are talking to you, connected to you, and they learn and they share. So it was really great to be talking to you today. I wish you fruitful teaching. I wish you inspiration. I wish you to enjoy what you're doing, and I wish you to, when you just next time, when you set up a good communicative task and you understand that your students are talking, they're having quality practice, and you just monitor, make notes, and help them occasionally, because you have set up such a wonderful task. Just please feel proud of yourself and feel that you are a super professional who can really set up communicative tasks and who really provides your students with quality practice. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, please contact us. We will try to answer your questions. We will try to provide you with aids and support. And we're always happy to have you here, online, offline, face-to-face. So everybody, goodbye. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you for the webinar. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Okay, again, I mean, I can stay here for a couple of more minutes. If you have questions, you can drop a line to the chat. If no, please enjoy life, enjoy teaching. Have a very good Thursday. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I don't know who it is, but Titi, I hope to see you again, but I hope to see you again too. So please do come, do take part in our events. Okay. How many students do you have in groups? Victoria, we have 10 students. If we talk about kids, we have 8. if we talk about that quarantine time and lockdown, we have 6 for now. So yeah, but we never have, in some courses we have 12, but usually we have 10. This is how many we have. But actually, we train teachers how to work with bigger groups, how to work with multi-level groups, multi-ability groups. So yeah, if you're interested, please write us emails. So if you're interested in such trainings, we'll be very happy to provide. Tomorrow will be the same thing. Yes, tomorrow I'm going to do the same thing. It will be the same webinar. Yes, what happens when the number of students are more than pairing? You just have one group of 3. This is what always happens. Again, there are many reasons for pairing a group of 3, but usually they include some students that need more support from their partners, because we never pair, for example, 3 very strong students who will complete the task very fast. Usually we pair probably slightly mixed ability students who would support each other, or students who can share ideas more, like who have more, energy to communicate. So it depends. Bye-bye, everyone. Yes, if you have any other questions, you can drop them here as well. Yeah, so there is someone waving a hand. This is, I'm sorry, I don't know how to read your name. I can see you. I don't know if you're waving goodbye or you want to ask me a question. Yeah, so thank you very much for joining us here. Is general English only for speaking program better than students' teams? It's not better, it's different. General English and courses for teenagers, they differ in the topics that they learn, because of course, teenagers are not interested in business or in economy or something else, and adults are not interested in music and like modern YouTube trends. So there are different courses because they have different interests and different topics to learn. And also the activities are also slightly different because teenagers, they need more movement, more discussion and so on. So there are some peculiarities, but very often they look very similar. Okay. When, at what lesson per second do you start working in groups? From the very first lesson. I start working in pairs, with pairs and groups from the very first lesson. If you only work face-to-face, it is not effective, they don't speak. If you work with a group and you speak and they respond, how much time each person speaks? Very little, and there might be shy students who never speak. So only in groups and in pairs, students have a chance to actually work. So always groups, always pairs. Learning doesn't happen if you're alone. And learning doesn't really happen if there is a huge group that the teacher talks to all the time. Okay. How can we get our certificate and presentation? I think our moderator will contact you how to do it, because I only do the content, I don't do the technical stuff. Groups and 3-4 things, yeah. Okay, ladies, I'm staying with you, and gentlemen, hopefully for another 4 minutes. Okay, I am from Azerbaijan. Like, oh, thank you very much. Great. By the way, I have studied in Ukraine for 4 years. That's great to hear. Come back to us for more courses, more experiences. Maybe you will teach here for a couple of years. So it's actually great that we have that exchange with people. I mean, with different cities, different countries, continents, because it feeds us. We share ideas. It's really great when it's not only people from your local city, but it's people all over the country, people from different countries, because just amazing when people share, when people communicate. Okay. Think of other questions that you have to me. Probably, I think it's all for now. So I guess it's time to say goodbye. Again, I wish you inspiration. Please be strong despite everything, because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And even such terrible events, they just boosted the online learning and online movement. So I do hope that you get inspired, that you got inspired. You have selected some activities to use in your class with your students, and you will make your learning more communicative. So thank you very much again. My name is Lidiya Simak. Today I'm working from Great Education Center. We are always happy to see you here and to have you here. So saying goodbye to you, waving to you, and see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you. You take care too. Bye. So, bye.